This video is about the mom entered the amusement park and a rich stranger offered to carry her bag. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts and comments. Bright summer sun poured down on the bustling entrance of Grace and S Amusement Park. Laughter mingled with the scent of caramel popcorn and fresh cotton candy, creating a vibrant tapestry of joy. Sarah Jennings stood at the threshold, her heart racing not from excitement, but from the weight of her burdens. Clutching her two children's hands, she felt the unmistakable strain of motherhood mixed with the thrill of the day ahead. "Can we go on the Ferris wheel first, Mom?" asked 10-year-old Max, his face painted with an eager grin, his tousled brown hair sticking up in every direction. Beside him, 6-year-old Lily bounced on the balls of her feet, her pigtails bobbing as she chimed in, "Please, please." All right, Sarah replied, forcing a smile through the fatigue that tugged at her. The world around her was a kaleidoscope of colors, yet she felt distinctly out of place. It had been over a year since her husband left, and every outing felt like a balancing act between wanting to create joyful memories and the overwhelming weight of her situation. Max began to tug her toward the entrance, and in that moment, Sarah felt the familiar heaviness of her handbag sliding down her shoulder. It was a practical bag, filled with everything from sunscreen to snacks, but its weight often mirrored the emotional burden she carried. As they stepped through the gates, a tall figure caught her eye. He was leaning against a vibrant red brick wall, his sleek dark hair tousled by the gentle breeze. Dressed in a casual yet impeccably tailored outfit, he exuded an effortless charisma that seemed out of place among the cotton candy and popcorn stands. "Excuse me," he called out, his voice warm and inviting, cutting through the noise of the park. Sarah turned, feeling a flicker of curiosity. "Yes," she replied, her brow slightly furrowed. She had learned to be cautious, especially in bustling places like this. "I couldn't help but notice you seem a bit weighed down," he said, gesturing toward her bag. "May I help you carry that?" Sarah blinked, momentarily taken aback. It was a simple gesture, yet it felt loaded with an unexpected warmth. She noticed his piercing blue eyes, which sparkled with kindness, and a subtle confidence that made her both intrigued and wary. "That is very kind of you, but I can manage," she replied, keeping her tone firm, even as a part of her longed for the support. His lips curved into a slight smile, and he stepped closer, lowering his voice just enough to make it feel intimate. "I insist, it is a beautiful day, and I'd hate for you to miss out on the fun because of a heavy bag." The sincerity in his gaze made her hesitate. The kids were tugging on her sleeves, impatient and excited. "Mom, can we please?" Max begged, glancing up at her with wide, hopeful eyes. Sarah sighed, torn between her instinct to decline and her desire to embrace a little help. "Well," she began, her resolve wavering. "If you're sure it is no trouble." "None at all," he said, flashing a grin that made her stomach flutter. With a slight nod, she relented, handing him the bag. His fingers brushed against hers for a brief moment, sending an unexpected thrill up her arm. "I am Michael, by the way," he introduced, his voice smooth and friendly. "Sarah," she replied, her heart inexplicably racing. "Nice to meet you, Sarah." He turned slightly, motioning for her to lead the way. "Shall we?" As they walked together, the children broke into an excited chatter, drawing Michael into their world. "You're so tall," Lily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "Do you ride all the rides?" "Only the ones that don't make me lose my lunch," he teased, eliciting peals of laughter from both kids. Sarah watched him interact with them, a warmth blooming in her chest. There was something enchanting about how easily he connected with her children. They approached the Ferris wheel, its colorful gondola spinning lazily against the azure sky. "This looks fun," Max declared, bouncing on his toes. "Can we go on next?" "Of course," Sarah replied, feeling the knot in her stomach slowly unravel. She found herself stealing glances at Michael, who seemed utterly at ease even amidst the chaos of the park. While waiting in line, Sarah felt a tug of guilt. "I don't want to take up your whole day," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You could be enjoying the park with friends." Michael chuckled softly. "I could, but I'd much rather spend time with you and your kids." There was a sincerity in his voice that made her heart flutter again. "Besides, I am here alone, just taking a break from work." "Oh, what do you do?" she asked, genuinely curious. "I work in finance," he replied, a hint of hesitation in his tone. "It is a bit dull, but it pays the bills." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Dull, or just not as exciting as an amusement park?" He laughed, a deep, rich sound that resonated with her. "You've got a point. Nothing quite compares to the thrill of a roller coaster." As they reached the front of the line, Sarah felt a rush of excitement mixed with nervousness. She had almost forgotten what it felt like to float, to feel that spark of chemistry in the air. But just as she began to enjoy the moment, a pang of insecurity surfaced. What was she doing? She was a mother of two, and here she was, sharing flirty banter with a handsome stranger. A part of her felt guilty for even allowing herself to entertain the thought of attraction. As they climbed into the gondola, Michael settled beside her, and she could feel the heat radiating from his body. The Ferris wheel creaked and began to ascend, and as they reached the top, a breathtaking view unfolded before them. The park sprawled out like a colorful canvas, filled with happy families and laughter. "Wow," he breathed, leaning over to look at the landscape. "This is incredible." "It really is," Sarah agreed, trying to keep her composure. "The best part is seeing the kids enjoy it." As the gondola swayed gently in the breeze, Michael turned to her, his expression suddenly serious. "You be doing a great job, being a single mom isn't easy." Surprised by his observation, she felt her defenses rise. "Thank you, but I am just trying to get by like everyone else." "Still, it takes strength," he replied, his gaze unwavering. Yuri handling it with grace. His compliment hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. Sarah felt her cheeks flush, an unfamiliar warmth spreading through her. "I appreciate that, but I am just trying to make things work." The moment felt suspended, charged with unspoken words and emotions. There was a connection forming, a spark that both thrilled and terrified her. Just then, the gondola began to descend, breaking the spell. Sarah released a breath she didn't realize she was holding. She had to remember her reality, the challenges that awaited her beyond this moment. As they stepped off the ride, Sarah glanced at Michael, her heart racing. "Thank you for helping me today. I didn't expect to enjoy it so much." "Anytime, Sarah," he replied, his smile warm and inviting. "I am glad I could lighten your load, even just a little." They walked back towards the center of the park, the kids animatedly discussing which ride to conquer next. But in her heart, Sarah felt a pull towards Michael, a yearning to know him better. Yet doubts crept in, whispering reminders of her reality. Would this moment lead to more? Or was it simply a fleeting encounter, a summer day filled with laughter that would evaporate like the afternoon sun? As they approached the next ride, Sarah took a deep breath, caught between the thrill of possibility and the fear of the unknown. Behind her smile, a war raged within her, a battle between longing and self-preservation, connection and vulnerability. As they ambled through the hustle and bustle of Grayson's amusement park, the laughter of her children intertwined with the cheerful melodies wafting from the nearby carousel. Sarah leaned closer to her kids, but her thoughts drifted back to Michael. He walked with an ease that contrasted sharply with her own chaotic energy, his long strides keeping pace with her children's exuberance. "Look, Mom, the bumper cars!" Max shouted, pointing excitedly. His eyes sparkled with the thrill of adventure. "Let us do it!" Lily echoed, bouncing on her feet, her enthusiasm infectious. Sarah hesitated. "Maybe we can wait just a bit, sweetie. Let us see what else there is first." She felt the weight of Michael's presence beside her, a strange comfort alongside the knot of anxiety tightening in her chest. "Come on, Sarah, let them have a go," Michael said, his voice light with encouragement. "You can't let them miss out because you were worried about what will happen next." His words struck a chord deep within her, a reminder of how easily she had started to slip into the role of a cautious guardian, forgetting about the joy of spontaneity. "You were right," she finally admitted, a hint of a smile breaking through her earlier hesitation. "All right, let us do it." The kids squealed in delight and dashed toward the bumper cars. Sarah stood back for a moment, her heart swelling with pride at their unrestrained joy. Michael turned to her, his expression softening. "You're a great mom," he said, the sincerity in his tone making her pulse quicken. "Thank you," she replied, her cheeks warming. "But you don't know the half of it. Some days, I feel like I am barely holding it together." He tilted his head slightly, his gaze sharp yet tender. "I doubt that. You're here, in an amusement park, creating memories with them. That says a lot." "Just trying to make it all work," she said, feeling a mix of gratitude and vulnerability. "It is easy to forget how to enjoy myself." "Maybe it is time to reclaim that joy," he suggested, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "I could show you how to have fun." She raised an eyebrow, trying to suppress a smile. "Is that a challenge?" "Perhaps," he said, his lips curling into a playful grin. The chemistry crackled between them, a tantalizing dance that both excited and unnerved her. "Okay, Mr. Fun Expert, let us see what you've got," she teased back, her heart racing as she composed herself. but internal battles raged on, the lingering guilt of her situation, the fear of missteps, the internal warning signs urging caution. They approached the bumper cars, where the kids were already in their seats, giggling and shouting as they strapped themselves in. Michael's laughter was infectious as he watched, his eyes lighting up with delight. They looked like they were having a blast. Just wait until they realize it's a free-for-all, she replied, smirking slightly. As the ride started, the cars jolted and swerved, children squealing with every bump. Sarah found herself laughing, to her worries temporarily forgotten. She turned to Michael, who was grinning widely. "This is fun," he exclaimed, his enthusiasm contagious. "See, told you I could help you enjoy yourself," he said, leaning closer, their shoulders brushing against each other, a touch that sent a jolt of electricity through her. Okay, you win," Sarah conceded, her heart fluttering. "But I am not handing over my dignity just yet." "Wouldn't you dream of it," he replied, chuckling softly. "Your dignity is safe with me." When the ride ended, the kids clambered out, exhilarated and breathless. "Again, Mom, please," Max urged, his face flushed with excitement. "Maybe in a bit," Sarah said, glancing at Michael. "What do you think?" "I say let them have another round," he suggested, his eyes shining with mischief. "It'll be entertaining to watch." "All right, but only if you join in," Sarah said, her voice teasing. "What, you think I am afraid of a little bumping?" he replied, pretending to be offended. "I can handle it." With that, they all piled into the bumper cars again, this time with Sarah and Michael squeezed into the back seat. The ride started with a jolt, laughter erupting as they careened around, bumping into one another. Sarah couldn't remember the last time she felt so carefree, and every time Michael playfully nudged her, she felt an intoxicating rush. After several rounds of chaotic fun, they finally stepped off the ride, their laughter ringing through the air. But as the initial thrill faded, so did the ease of the moment, and she felt the familiar weight of self-awareness pressed down on her. "All right, what's next?" Michael asked, wiping his brow dramatically. "I am ready for whatever you throw at me." Sarah hesitated, glancing around. "I should probably think about getting the kids some fruits." "Oh, they can eat anywhere. How about a game?" he suggested, his eyes glinting. "Games are fun, but I am not sure," Sarah replied, feeling a tiny pang of guilt again. "I don't want to take up all your time." "Honestly, I am enjoying myself," he said, his tone earnest. "But if you were feeling unsure, we can take a break." The sincerity in his voice made her heart ache. She wanted to believe him, to allow herself to let go even just a little. "Okay, just one game," she agreed, surprising herself with her willingness. As they approached the ring-toss booth, the cheerful Baka waved them over. The gaudy prizes hung enticingly, and Sarah felt the thrill of competitive spirit rise within her. "I bet I can win something for the kids," she said, eyeing the glittering stuffed animals. Michael chuckled, leaning closer. "Is that a challenge? Because I can't resist a good competition." "Bring it on," she replied, her heart racing as the game began. They took turns tossing rings, the air thick with playful banter and laughter. She was surprised at how much she enjoyed competing against him, the playful rivalry igniting something within her. After a few rounds, they had each won a small stuffed animal, but it was the shared laughter that warmed her heart. "Okay, you've got some skills, I'll admit," he conceded as he tossed her a smug grin. "I am just warming up," she replied, the thrill of the challenge bubbling inside her. "Next time, I'll definitely take the prize." "Is that a promise?" he asked, his voice low, filled with a teasing challenge that sent butterflies fluttering in her stomach. "It is," she said, feeling a rush of confidence. As they continued to play, the sun began to lower in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the park. Sarah felt a shift within her. The day had morphed from a daunting outing into something unexpectedly joyful. Yet she sensed the emotional tension between them had deepened, the light-hearted atmosphere now tinged with something complex and exhilarating. "Thank you for today," Sarah said softly as they walked away from the game. Her heart swelled with gratitude. "I didn't think I could have this much fun." "I am glad to hear that," he replied, his gaze steady. "You deserve this, Sarah. It is nice to see you smile." The earnestness in his tone made her breath catch. Was it too soon to feel this way? The moment was like a fragile bubble, holding both potential and the weight of their realities. As they strolled towards the food stalls, a small part of her began to wonder, was there more to this connection? Michael had been a ray of light in her otherwise tumultuous life, but was she ready to step beyond the boundaries she had set for herself? "Want to share some cotton candy?" Michael asked, breaking her reverie. That's practically a rule at amusement parks. Yes, and I've been looking forward to it, she replied, trying to push away her doubts. It's a tradition. As they waited in line, she could feel his presence beside her, an anchor amidst the swirling chaos. It was intoxicating, the way he made her feel seen and valued, a sensation that had been absent for far too long. Here you go, he said, handing her a fluffy pink swirl of cotton candy. Just for you. Thank you. The fingers brushed again as she took it, and she savored the moment how effortlessly they connected, as if they had known each other far longer than a few hours. Want to take a walk, he suggested. I know a spot where we can sit and enjoy this. We'll lead the way, she replied, her heart racing as butterflies danced in her stomach. They wandered toward a quieter area of the park, where trees provided a soothing shade and the sounds of laughter faded into a gentle hum. They found a weathered bench overlooking a small pond, where ducks floated lazily and the atmosphere felt almost magical. This is perfect, Sarah said, feeling the weight of the day's anxieties. The cotton candy melted on Sarah's tongue, sweet and airy, and as she savored it, she caught Michael's gaze. His eyes sparkled in the filtered sunlight, and for a moment the world around them fell away, leaving just the two of them. This is nice, he said, leaning back against the bench, a relaxed posture that seemed to invite conversation. Yeah, it really is, she replied softly, feeling the warmth of the day seep into her bones. I haven't felt this carefree in a long time. Michael's expression shifted, becoming more earnest. You deserve moments like this, Sarah. It is easy to forget when life gets heavy. His words resonated deep within her. She had spent so long carrying her burdens alone that the idea of sharing or even allowing someone else in felt foreign and terrifying. It's just that I am not used to this. What do you mean? He asked, tilting his head slightly as he studied her. I mean the idea of letting someone in, Sarah confessed. It is complicated being a single mom. I don't want to drag anyone into my chaos. He nodded, his gaze thoughtful. I get that, but I think you underestimate how resilient people can be. Maybe your chaos isn't as daunting as you think. She frowned, feeling a flare of defensiveness. You don't know the half of it, Michael. It is not just juggling kids, it is managing everything alone. It is hard. But you redoing it, he countered, his voice gentle yet firm. And you redoing it well, you here, enjoying a day with your kids, and you bringing joy into their lives. That is a lot. His praise stirred something in her, an ember of confidence that had long been buried beneath layers of doubt. Thank you, she murmured, her cheeks warming under his unwavering gaze. Don't thank me yet, we still have to finish this cotton candy, he teased, raising his own fluffy pink cloud toward her. I am willing to share. Sarah couldn't help but laugh at his playful antics. You were right, we must honor the tradition. They took turns tearing off pieces to share, and somehow, each brush of their fingers sent a thrill coursing through her. So tell me more about yourself, he said, curiosity glinting in his eyes. Not much to tell, she replied, trying to keep it light. I am just a mom trying to keep her head above water. Everyone has a story, Sarah. Yours is just as valid as anyone else's, he insisted, leaning slightly closer, his voice low. She hesitated, weighing the risk of vulnerability against the comfort of his presence. Okay, well, I guess I used to be more adventurous, she admitted, a wistful smile playing on her lips. Before all of this. Adventurous you, I can picture it, he teased, raising an eyebrow. I swear. She playfully nudged him. I used to travel a lot, hike mountains, go to concerts, but after the kids everything changed, it became all about them, and I lost touch with myself. I find that hard to believe, he said, his tone earnest. I see a spark in you, Sarah, even if you don't realize it, I think it is still there. Maybe, she replied, her heart fluttering at his words. It is just buried under a lot of responsibility. Maybe it just needs a little encouragement to resurface, he said, the intensity of his gaze making her pulse quicken. There was both challenge and warmth in his words, a promise of something more. Encouragement, she mused. And how exactly do you propose we do that? Michael grinned, his eyes dancing with mischief. Well, how about an impromptu adventure? We could try that giant slide over there. He pointed to a towering slide that loomed in the background, colorful and daunting. Sarah felt a rush of adrenaline mixed with apprehension. The slide, I haven't been on one of those in years. Exactly. What better way to reignite that adventure spirit than by taking the plunge? He leaned forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I can promise you it'll be fun. She bit her lip, her heart racing at the thought. The idea both thrilled and terrified her. You really think I can do it? Absolutely, he said, his tone unwavering. I'll be right there with you. Plus, how cool will it be to tell your kids later? The thought of sharing this excitement with her children sent a wave of warmth through her. Okay, fine, let us do it. Alright, he exclaimed, the enthusiasm in his voice infectious. Let us show these kids how it is done. As they stood up, she felt a surge of confidence. But then it hit her, was she really ready for this? The doubts crept in again. What if I look ridiculous? Michael chuckled, the sound rich and comforting. You won't. Besides, if you do, I'll look ridiculous right beside you. Alright, you win, she said, shaking her head, yet unable to suppress a smile. Let us go before I change my mind. They made their way to the slide, the heart-pounding anticipation building with each step. The children rushed ahead, eyes wide with excitement as they clamored to climb the staircase that led to the top. Come on, Mom. Max called back, waving his arms dramatically. You have to race us. I am coming. Sarah shouted, feeling the exhilaration rise within her. With Michael beside her, she felt like she could conquer anything. When they reached the top, the view was breathtaking, an expanse of vibrant colors and laughter. But the thrill was quickly replaced by nerves as they peered down the steep slide. Are you ready? Michael asked, his eyes locking onto hers. I think so, she replied, her heart racing. On 3, okay, 1, 2, 3. They both pushed off, the wall falling away as they sped down the slide, the wind rushing past them. Sarah let out a shriek, a mix of terror and delight, and as they reached the bottom, laughter erupted between them. That was amazing, she exclaimed, breathless, her heart racing from both the adrenaline and the connection they shared. See, you still have that adventurous spirit. Michael grinned, his eyes sparkling with mischief. Okay, you were right, she admitted, still catching her breath. I needed that. Anytime, he said, that warmth radiating from him again. I am always here to remind you of what you are capable of. Before she could respond, Lily and Max came rushing up, their faces flushed with excitement. Can we go again? Max asked, practically bouncing on his feet. Absolutely. Sarah replied, her heart swelling at the prospect of sharing this joy with them. They repeated the slide several times, laughter echoing through the air. Each descent brought them closer together, each moment imbued with a sense of freedom that Sarah had almost forgotten existed. But as they took a break, sitting on a bench to catch their breath, a seed of doubt began to creep in again. What happens when this day is over? She wondered aloud, the weight of her reality pressing down on her. Michael paused, his expression thoughtful. What do you mean? I mean you've been so wonderful today, she said, her voice betraying the vulnerability she felt. But this is just a moment, right? You'll go back to your life, and I'll go back to mine. Maybe, he replied, his gaze steady and unwavering. But I am not ready to walk away from this connection, Sarah. Her heart fluttered at his words, but fear gripped her. But what does that mean? I am not looking for anything serious. And neither am I, he said, his voice softening. But maybe we can just take it day by day, enjoy the time we have. It is complicated, she sighed, feeling the weight of her responsibilities loom over her. Life is complicated, he responded, a hint of determination in his voice. But that doesn't mean we can't explore what this is. I am willing to take things slow. She searched his eyes, looking for sincerity, and found it. You really mean that? Absolutely, he said, his tone unwavering. I am here, Sarah, and I'd love to see where this could go. Tension hung between them, charged with possibilities. Okay, she finally said, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. I am willing to try. Good, he replied, a smile breaking across his face, making her heart race even faster. Let us just enjoy today and see where it leads. They stood up, the children already pulling them toward the next adventure. As they surfaced from the depths of their conversation, Sarah felt something shift within her, a newfound openness to the possibilities that lay ahead. Hand in hand with Michael, she took a step into the unknown, ready to. Sarah felt a flutter of anticipation as she walked alongside Michael, her heart beating a little faster than usual. The day had taken on a new dimension, a beautiful blend of laughter, shared moments, and an undeniable connection that left her feeling both exhilarated and terrified. Where to next, fearless leader, she joked, trying to mask the swirl of emotions within her. Michael chuckled, a low, warm sound that wrapped around her like a blanket. I was thinking the carousel, he suggested, glancing at the colorful spinning horses that seemed to beckon with an air of nostalgia. Seems a bit tame for two adventurous souls, don't you think? She teased, raising an eyebrow. Oh, but it is classic, he countered, his voice playful. And besides, It gives us a chance to catch our breath, plus, you can't deny the charm of a carousel ride. Alright, Sarah relented, feeling the tug of the familiar childhood thrill. Let us ride the carousel. As they approached the line, Michael fell into step beside her, and the closeness ignited a spark of something deeper. She stole glances at him, noticing the way the sunlight danced in his hair and how his smile transformed his features, making him all the more appealing. Do you prefer the horse or one of the chariots? He asked, his expression teasing. Definitely the horse, she replied without hesitation. It is all about embracing the excitement. Then we shall ride like the wind, he declared, mockingly raising an imaginary sword as they reached the front of the line. Max and Lily giggled, their excitement palpable as they hopped onto their chosen steeds. Sarah settled onto a striking white horse, and as she adjusted her grip on the pole, she turned to see Michael next to her on a gleaming black stallion. He looked dashing, sir, she teased, trying to lighten the ethic with her own swelling thoughts. Why thank you, milady, he replied with a dramatic flair, tipping an imaginary hat. Shall we ride into the sunset? As the ride began, a wave of nostalgia washed over Sarah. The gentle sway and the cheerful music filled her heart with warmth. She watched the children's delighted expressions, their laughter ringing like a sweet melody. Yet, with each passing moment, she couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty building in her chest. A nagging voice whispered in her mind, reminding her that this was just a day. Could she truly allow herself to feel something deeper? Sarah? Michael's voice cut through her thoughts. She replied, turning her attention back to him. I was just thinking, he started, his tone shifting to something more sincere. You deserve to let go and have fun more often. A wave of emotion washed over her as she met his gaze, searching for understanding. It is not that simple, Michael. I have responsibilities, and sometimes it feels like I am walking a tightrope. I get it, he replied, his expression softening. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't take moments like these, they're precious. Maybe, but what happens when this day is over? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. What do I tell my heart? His gaze searched hers, and for a moment the playful atmosphere between them faded, replaced by a tension charged with unspoken truths. You tell it to hold on, to be brave, he said gently. Brave, she echoed, her heart racing. I am not sure I even know how to be brave anymore. You here, aren't you? He countered, a hint of challenge in his voice. You took a leap by allowing me into your life, and that is more than many would do. As the carousel spun, her heart felt heavy with conflicting emotions. She wanted to believe in the possibility of more of laughter, shared moments, and chemistry, but the weight of reality loomed like a shadow. Just then, the ride slowed to a stop, and Sarah felt a pang of disappointment. She had relished the brief escape, the momentary reprieve from her worries. Let us grab a snack, Michael suggested, his voice lightening the mood again. I think I owe you a funnel cake after all. Sarah laughed, the sound bubbling up unexpectedly. You're right, that is definitely a tradition I can get behind. They walked towards a vendor, the enticing aroma of fried dough and powdered sugar wafting through the air. As they waited in line, she felt Michael's presence beside her, a steady anchor amidst her swirling doubts. What is your favor? He asked, glancing at the menu board. Definitely the classic with a mountain of powdered sugar, she replied, her mouth watering at the thought. Alright, let us do that, he said, grinning at her enthusiasm. As they ordered and received the warm, golden treat, Sarah felt a wave of nostalgia wash over her. It reminded her of simpler times, of carefree outings filled with laughter before life had become so complicated. Here, Michael said, breaking off a piece and extending it toward her. A taste test. Sarah hesitated for a moment, then leaned forward, their mouths nearly touching. She took a bite, the confection melting in her mouth, and a delightful smile spread across her face. It is amazing, she exclaimed, unintentionally leaning a little closer. See, I have impeccable taste. He winked, and the way his eyes sparkled made her pulse quicken. As they walked, the conversation flowed easily, filled with playful banter and laughter. But deep inside, Sarah fought against the current of her emotions, grappling with the reality that this connection felt too good to be true. Here, I have something to show you, he said suddenly, steering her towards a small booth adorned with colorful lights and prizes. What is it? She asked, her curiosity piqued. A game that tests your skill, balloon darts, he announced, gesturing to the booth where a colorful array of balloons awaited. Balloon darts, that sounds a little risky, she said, an eyebrow raised. I promise, all in good fun, he replied, his tone light. Plus, if you win, you get a prize for the kids. Okay, you've convinced me, she said, feeling the excitement bubble up within her. As they approached the booth, she watched as he expertly tossed dots, the balloons bursting with satisfying pops. His focus was intense, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Not bad," she cheered, her heart racing as he won several rounds. "Your turn," he said, handing her a dot with a playful grin. Taking a deep breath, Sarah steadied herself, her heart pounding in her chest. She threw the dot and missed. "Don't you worry, it's all about technique," Michael encouraged, stepping closer and demonstrating how to hold the dot correctly. "You've got this." She felt the warmth of his presence envelop her, and when he demonstrated again, she couldn't help but admire the way he moved, confident and assured. With renewed determination, she took aim once more, this time hitting the target. The balloon burst, and she squealed with delight. "You did it!" Michael cheered, pulling her into a celebratory hug. The thrill of the win mixed with the warmth of his embrace sent a jolt through her. "Okay, but I need to get a prize now," she laughed, still riding the high of victory. They picked out a stuffed animal for each child, a vibrant, fluffy panda for Max and a sparkly unicorn for Lily. As they walked away, her heart felt light with joy, a feeling she hadn't connected with in so long. But as they approached the next attraction, a wave of hesitation washed over her again. "I am having such a wonderful time," she began, her voice faltering. "But I can shake the feeling that this moment will end." Michael turned to her, his expression serious yet gentle. "Why can't we just enjoy it for what it is? The day isn't over yet." "I know," she replied, her heart heavy. "But what if it leads to something deeper? I am not sure I am ready for that." His gaze softened, and he took a step closer, his voice lowering. "I am not asking for anything more than what we have right now, just the chance to get to know you better." Sarah felt her defenses begin to crack. "It's not that simple, Michael. I am afraid of getting hurt again." "Everyone is," he replied earnestly. "But that doesn't mean we should shy away from what is right in front of us." She met his gaze, searching for the truth in his words. "You mean that?" she asked, feeling the flicker of hope ignite within her. "Absolutely," he said softly, reaching out to tuck a loose strand of hair behind her ear. The tender gesture sent a rush of warmth through her. "I want to believe you," she whispered, struck by the intensity of the moment. "Then let us take it slow, day by day," he suggested, his tone reassuring. "No pressure, just fun." Taking a deep breath, she felt the tension begin to ease.